So Nintendo has found themselves in some serious hot water, and the worst part is that it all could have been avoided, but it all started a little over a week ago with the all-new Nintendo Direct about the upcoming Nintendo Switch 2. The Nintendo Direct showcased the features of the Switch 2 and even showed off brand new games. They also confirmed the launch date for the new system on June 5th, just a couple months away. This led people to be extremely excited about the Switch 2, and people couldn't wait at all. The Nintendo Direct was a massive success, and they showcased that the Switch 2 would be able to handle a 4K resolution with 60 FPS, but if you play at 1080p, you can also have access to 120 FPS if your monitor supports it. Nintendo really hammered down the fact that they were able to compete with their brand new powerful system. They even brought in a ton of third-party games to prove that their system can handle it, including Elden Ring's Borderlands 4 when it releases, EA Sports FC, Hitman, World of Assassination, and plenty more high AAA games. Along with those third-party games, they also included some brand new games of their own. This includes Donkey Kong Bonanza, Drag X Drive, aka Wheelchair Basketball, Kirby Air Riders, Mario Kart World, and even a brand new FromSoft game that'll be exclusive to the Switch 2 called the Duskbloods. It's set to release in 2026. So the Nintendo Direct was a massive success, but people were left confused because they announced the launch date and that Mario Kart World would be released on launch day as well, but they didn't give a pre-order date and they also didn't give a price. But it didn't take people long at all to figure out why that was the case. The Switch 2 would cost $450 for the base console and $500 for the Mario Kart World bundle, and that pre-orders were set for April 8th. This at first didn't have people that upset because it was justified that the Switch 2 ran at 4K and was much stronger than the Switch 1. But what had people upset was that Mario Kart World would have an $80 price tag for the digital version, and it would cost $90 for the physical version of the game. This left people very mad and confused because $80 is a lot for a brand new game, but at the same time, Donkey Kong Bonanza will only cost the usual $70 when that game releases in July. People were very upset and they brought the heat to Nintendo online, voicing their displeasures because Nintendo refused to address the elephant in the room. Here's a clip from Geeks and Gamers explaining the situation.
Now, Nintendo, why is it $80? Can you explain that to people? As I've said many times, I'm going to stream Mario Kart World. I'm going to put over 1,000 hours into Mario Kart World. On a personal level, I have no problem with me personally having to spend that much money to get that much out of a product. But people are pissed and they want answers. Nintendo should be answering them. Nintendo is solely responsible for all of this. No one else is to blame. They could put this fire out immediately if they wanted to. So now people are curious as to what's the justification for Mario Kart World being $80. It's a fair question. I have no problem with people being frustrated about that.
People were very upset and even tried to run with the narrative that Donald Trump's tariffs were the reason that the Switch 2 prices were going up, but that was quickly debunked by Nintendo themselves. But just today, they had the audacity to say that if you can't afford the Switch 2, then don't buy it at all. The Nintendo president says if you can't afford a Switch 2, you can buy a Switch 1 instead. We recognize that there are some people that may not be able to afford the Switch 2's price point. That's why we wanted to make the other Switch platforms available. Nintendo understands that some consumers won't be able to afford the Switch 2. While discussing surrounding Switch 2's price continues, Nintendo of America President Doug Bowser understands that some consumers may not be able to afford the system. Bowser was speaking about the cost in a recent interview for those interested in Nintendo's overall ecosystem. Bowser highlighted that it will continue to have Switch 1 games available. New games for that console will also continue to launch heading into 2026. There's been plenty of talk surrounding Nintendo Switch 2's cost, and some are fearing that it could go higher than the previously announced $450 price. A few days ago, it was announced that pre-orders are being delayed in the US as Nintendo evaluates the impacts of the tariffs. We also heard quite a bit from Nintendo about Switch 2's price yesterday. Bowser confirmed that previous tariffs were not factored in deciding on the $450 price point. Meanwhile, outside of the console, there has been even more controversy surrounding game prices. Titles like Mario Kart World and the Nintendo Switch 2 edition of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom are going for $80 each. Nintendo really went out of their way and pulled a Microsoft with the Xbox One. Now, do I think the Switch 2 will be a disaster like the Xbox One? No, I don't. but I do think that it could potentially hurt the legs of the Switch 2, and I also believe that it won't come close at all to competing with the Switch 1 in sales. But at the end of the day, Nintendo is a greedy company, but they also back it up with some pretty incredible games. Let me know in the comments below if you're excited about the Switch 2, but I also want to hear your opinion on how Nintendo has handled this entire situation. But anyway, that's all for me. If you liked the video, hit the like button, comment your guys' thoughts down below, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.